It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you think
Where will we go next? This phantom from another time.
No one, Mr. Mulder.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Daikaiju, and to my left,
Jasmine with
and across,
Eli Watson.
and we are
Cryptid
Campfire.
And we were probably out of sync, but that's okay. And we're actually not sitting at a table because I'm not actually beside Alex, and Eli's not across from us. We're in 3 different buildings throughout the city of Los Angeles.
A little bit of movie magic, if you will.
Podcast magic.
But hey everyone, and welcome back to Cryptid Campfire. Quarantine's still going on, so we're recording remotely from each other. You know, social distancing.
Yeah, I told the guys earlier I'm feeling a little comfortable right now, actually, because I'm laid back on my couch at home. Got my phone in my hand, looking at my notes. I got my mic in the other hand, and I'm like laid back and chilling.
You're not stuck in a dingy little sub basement that we normally record in.
We don't record in a sub basement.
Oh,
We record in my grandma's closet, sir.
A step up. Let's get it right.
It's like one notch above. But what are we talking about today, fellas?
Talking about Tahoe Tessie. The rootinest, tootinest cowboy there is.
The most American Loch Ness monster we've ever had.
True that. And where is Lake Tahoe exactly? Well, I will tell you. I'm so glad that you asked that question. Lake Tahoe is straddling the state line between California and Nevada. 22 miles long, 12 miles wide, and 1,645 feet deep, making it the second deepest lake in the country. And
the 10th deepest lake in the world.
According to the early LA Times article that you may have read, but it is actually currently the 16th deepest in the world as defined by Wikipedia.
Uh-oh. Oh, well, there's Wikipedia, though.
I know.
There's a couple ahead of it, but the deepest lake in United States is actually in Oregon. It's Lake Crater, and it's 1,949 feet deep.
Oh, that's not that much more, dude. Lake Tahoe can make it. It's just to keep.
It's funny too, because Crater Lake has its own monster myth.
Oh, really?
I think so, because there's an old 70s monster movie called The Crater Lake Monster, and it was like a Nessie that came out and ate people.
Oh, sick!
I didn't know that.
So maybe that'll be our next destination in all these sea monsters we got in America.
But Tessie's specific destination in the lake is considered to be an underwater layer beneath Cave Rock, which is located on Tahoe's east shore.
I have some interesting items about Cave Rock that might be interesting to share. I don't know how many times I'm going to say interesting. So Cave Rock is a large rock formation, as Jasmine already said, on the southeastern shore of the lake. And it was once part of a volcano vent, but it is sacred to the Washoe Indians. I think that's how you say that. And they had some pretty interesting legends as well about Lake Tahoe. But here, there's a rumor that the natives, these Washoe Indians, would toss their deceased off the edge.
What?
Yeah, and it there's ghosts that are sighted at Cave Rock.
Really?
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know if that makes I know Native Americans have burial rituals. I don't know I didn't go into the Washoe Indians to look up their burial rituals, but I don't think just tossing people off a ledge and into a lake.
They go 1,
It's not exactly
2,
sacred.
3.
Yeah.
Woo!
Right, but it doesn't change the fact that there are ghosts sighted there at Cave Rock. So
There's the Lady of the Lake that they say roams around the Cave Rock area.
Yeah, the Lady of the Lake.
Really? I didn't
Like,
read about
it's-
any of this.
She's only visible at like certain times, right? Like in the morning or the afternoon.
Yeah, she's like one of two ghost ladies of Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe is a pretty wild place, dude.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Right?
Well, the
Yeah,
lady we're talking about today is a sea serpent.
Oh.
Mm.
You know,
Did you
she's-
guys get any information about exactly what she looks like? I have a couple different notes regarding her description. She's known as anything from a black serpent-like creature to a friendly green reptile.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes as long as 20 feet. The head is said to be extremely small, but there are few accounts of anyone actually seeing the head, which I think is interesting, because when you think of like Nessie at Loch Ness, you think of that head coming up out of the water with the long neck and the head on top kind of like looking around. But
Mhm.
I guess there's never really been anybody to see the head of Tessie before.
Yeah, I got a similar thing.
It's
Mhm.
what mostly like people see like serpentine, like a
Yeah.
giant serpent kind of swimming. It's always the body kind of going up and down through the water. You never see the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
But-
was interesting too, the up and down thing, because like you think kind of like sea serpent, you would think side to side movement like a snake, but this is
Mhm.
more of the up and down.
Yeah, and that throws a lot of people off, you know.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much it for the. She's basically like a giant snake, right?
Well, I've got a couple quotes for her description from eyewitnesses. Some people have said it seems to be as big around as a telephone pole, looking like a green kayak that had flipped and sank below the surface. And it was also described as a very tall object with a long face and a long neck reaching above the water like a very big python with two humps behind it.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Maybe Tessie is a snake, but just swims sideways.
She's
Maybe.
like confused.
Like on her side, she's just like,
Yeah.
It seems like a really like hard way to swim too, because you're constantly going in and out.
mhm.
But yeah, it's a confused 20-foot python that's just loose in Lake Tahoe.
Could be, dude.
Now-
Yeah, there's still like quite a number of sightings. Sorry, I'm just gonna throw this out there, but
Yeah.
there's like at least half a dozen sightings a year,
Mhm.
which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because I went on I didn't write the name down for it, but it was like a cryptid forum.
Mm.
And people were like, "Oh, what's the story with Tahoe Tessie? Anyone have ideas?" And I want to say there's more sightings to Tessie than I've seen to anything else. Someone always had some story of, "Oh, I was there like 10 years ago and I saw her," or 6 years ago I was so and so. Like everyone's seen Tahoe Tessie apparently.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of just like random online sightings of just, yeah, I saw a giant thing in the back, and so everyone's just like real happy to see Tessie.
yeah.
Well, Eli, you mentioned the Washoe Indians a little bit ago. Did you get any more information about the legends that were tied to Tessie?
Not specifically to Tessie. I have this one of a prehistoric bird named Ong, who lived at the center of the lake and would eat any children who wandered away from camp.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I didn't get anything specifically to Tessie. Did you?
Well, I read that the beast, as they call it, allegedly appears in Washoe, and I do not know how to pronounce this. Maybe you can help me, guys. It's Paiute.
Oh, I was saying Paiute
Yeah, that's
when
what
I was
thought.
reading that.
Mhm.
Indian legend. So for these people of the land, this creature, this Tessie creature, which was not called Tessie at the time, obviously, but this creature was a being of reverence and considered immensely powerful by the shamans, and indigenous people held the large creature at such high regard that even speaking of the animal was considered unthinkable because it was rumored to cause blindness or death.
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
intense.
Mm-hmm. And then did you guys read anything about Jacques Cousteau?
Oh,
yes, this
that's
is some
pretty good.
crazy stuff. So Jacques Cousteau, the famous oceanographer, took his submarine for a deep dive in the mid-1970s into Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically, I think they were just trying to find out how deep it went. Because I think at that time, they didn't know how deep it was. And I know some like Native American legends, I want to say, also kind of refer to this lake as being bottomless.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mr. Cousteau goes down there and he comes back up and he goes, "The world isn't ready for what's down there."
Yeah,
And he never releases any photos or any of the data from his deep dives down
anything,
there.
right?
No, even to the day he died.
Isn't that
Well,
crazy? Could
when
you
I
imagine?
read that, go ahead,
Have you
Alex.
read that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, could you imagine like the press conference? Because it's Jacques Cousteau, like that's a big name, and he gets there on the podium. There's all the reporters, and they're like, "So what did you find?" Jacques Lebeau, the world is not ready for what is down there, and he just walks away. Like, oh,
I was intrigued when it said that he subsequently refused to release any of his underwater footage. And that phrasing made me wonder, because I'm wondering in the 70s, what kind of underwater like footage could be captured? I don't know anything about the history of like cameras or video.
Mhm.
Was there equipment at that time that could take underwater footage?
Yeah. I know you can put like a protective casing around it.
I want to say I know with like deep divers like Jacques Cousteau, they would have like the front would have a camera, and then like Eli was saying, there's a protective cover around it that was airtight, and so I think that also gave him some of that buoyancy, because you'd have like a giant plastic case over the camera, and you could kind of look down and see the seabed. But yeah, I think they could probably take rudimentary cameras down there and keep it somewhat safe.
I don't know why I know this, but I know in High School Musical, there's a scene where the camera goes under the pool, like under the water in the pool. And there was like some behind the scenes feature on Disney Channel that showed how they did it. And they just put the camera in a glass box. So if they were able to do that for High School Musical.
Oh, I mean, you think of Creature from the Black Lagoon. They're filming underwater in the 50s.
That's right.
All right.
Wow, so, I was trying really hard to think of something.
And the best you could come up with was High School Musical. But you know what? We're all in this together, so it's okay.
It's always at the forefront of our minds.
But what's funny about this whole Jacques Cousteau story is the fact that this has been recounted in mainstream publications. So things like the San Francisco Chronicle have said or made claim that Jacques Cousteau did go on this like adventure, but it's not actually backed up by any source or evidence. This rumor could potentially just be completely fabricated by the internet.
Oh, like another Indrid Cold situation?
Maybe. I would like to believe that it happened. I think that would be really cool, but there's no proof.
Well, this is why, Jasmine.
Okay, educate
I
me.
know-
Why
I know.
did my voice just like change? Why did
You're getting the cryptid spirit.
Yes.
So I know what he saw down there.
What did he see?
So
How many Tessies did he see?
Oh,
whoa. No, but supposedly, from some rumors that I was reading online, that 900 feet below the surface of Lake Tahoe are hundreds of human bodies.
Oh man, you're skipping to the fun part.
Nah, there's like lots of crazy stuff here.
I know. There's lots of rumors.
I know,
and you're saying not just any kind of human bodies.
Yeah, finish your sentence. I cut you off. What kind of human bodies, Eli?
Perfectly preserved human bodies.
Ooh.
Belonging to the souls of who, though?
Like gangsters and
Yeah.
their
The
victims.
mafioso.
Yeah. And,
Italian gangsters. Freeze-dried in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. And so, like, I guess there's a number of reasons why there would be bodies in Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about the one with Cave Rock, and and supposedly gangsters would toss bodies into Lake Tahoe, because there's another rumor that there's a drain at the bottom of Lake Tahoe that leads to, I believe it's called Pyramid Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the bodies would go down the drain, if you will, and go downstream to Pyramid Lake, where they would be found.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As far as the preservation of bodies go, I actually have something that might substantiate a little bit of this rumor. Let me find it. So, in 2018, they found a body of a man who had drowned in Lake Tahoe 17 years prior, and he was still in his wetsuit, and his body was pretty well preserved due to the cold. Just the sheer cold preserves your body. So it's pretty insane. Over 17 years.
Yeah, it says supposedly hundreds of gangsters' corpses are suspended in the depths, they say, preserved from decay and prevented from gas-bloated surfacing by the near-freezing deep waters.
Pretty wild, right?
Yeah, I mean, supposedly on fishing and, like, caught human hands and ears.
Yeah, someone pulled an ear out, like in, what's that David Lynch one?
Blue Velvet?
Blue Velvet, yeah, they found a human ear.
That he did, my friend.
But
did you get...
Sorry,
but
I was just gonna bring us back to Tessie.
What about Tessie? We got Lake Tahoe. It's got ghosts, dead gangsters. It's haunted. Sub-freezing level water.
I do have a sighting of Tessie.
Yeah, I got a few. Let's talk about them.
Okay. So in June of 1984, two women named Patsy McKay, is that correct? Yes, Patsy McKay and Diane Stavarakas.
Whoa.
I'm not sure if that's correct. It's probably something weird like Stavaricus.
That's a weird one.
Yeah. They were hiking above the western shore when they spotted Tessie swimming in the lake. And Miss McKay describes it as being 17 feet long. And she watched it closely, and she said she saw it surface 3 times like a little submarine. But then she also goes on to describe it as whale-like. Oh, it's a whale-like creature that had a humped back. And she was positive that it wasn't a diver, a log, or a large ripple in the lake.
Yeah, and I think they had also said, those two women said that it looked like there were little white caps coming out from where its mouth would be. Like where it would be breathing, like bubbling up and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's one. There was one before that, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
The police officers?
Oh, I started reading about this and I got lost in the sauce. Tell me about this.
Got lost in the sauce. So it's another kind of like short and simple sighting story. So June of 1982, a pair of off-duty Reno policemen, Chris Beebe and Jerry Jones, they were water skiing in the lake, and an unusually large creature swam by them. So supposedly they saw a smooth black thing about 18 to 30 feet long, which that's a big range if you ask me. 18 to...
Oh, yeah.
Slithering along the surface, and the object looked similar to the top of a Volkswagen Bug. One officer who was in the water at the time said it came up right next to him, and he didn't look twice to find out what it was as he scrambled out of the water and back into the boat. And they were apparently so shaken up about it that when they tried telling people about it, they were just scoffed at. And they claimed that there was no drinking involved. You know, they weren't under the influence of anything. And apparently they eventually moved away and have never talked about what they saw that night again.
Yeah, man, that's the unfortunate recurring theme, huh? It's that people see these things, want to share what they saw, and then they're humiliated for it, and then they never talk about it.
And what year was the policeman you said?
Policeman was 1982. So 2 years prior to the women.
Interesting.
Who saw it.
So Tessie's like active in the 80s.
Yeah, that's kind of when it like surges, is the 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you guys have anything else before that, or is that kind of when she picks up and then we start seeing more Tessie everywhere?
I didn't have anything before that.
No, I don't have anything prior to 1982. Do you?
I tried to find if there was anything like because they have the there's the Native American what you said legends possibly connected to Tessie. I just was looking to see. I couldn't find any. 'Cause you know how we always have like, there's like cowboy newspapers and turn of the century people were talking about Tessie and stuff, but I couldn't find anything about that, which is strange for a creature that's been around for a while. Maybe she's hibernating.
Maybe. But I do have a third story from a guy named Mike Conway. Did you guys come across him?
Yes,
What's this guy?
He's an interesting story. He once owned a local TV station and says that Tessie appeared in the mid-'80s, again, we're in the 80s, during a commercial shoot at Zephyr Cove on the Nevada side of the lake. So he was the location manager and his crew was filming some actors on like a romantic stroll. And there was like half a dozen kids on a boat dock, and that's when an 18-foot skiff boat suddenly rocked from a wake and everybody started freaking out and all of the kids were like, "It's Tessie, it's Tessie!" And so this story comes from the LA Times, and they asked this guy what happened to the footage. Like, if you were filming a commercial, then would it have been filmed? And he said, quote, "I heard they destroyed the footage." And when LA Times asked him who's they, his response was, them.
Oh, yeah. He's full of it.
So I don't know how much credibility that story holds.
Whatever the company was shooting the commercial, maybe it was like Johnson & Johnson. They're like, destroy that footage.
Yeah, Johnson. I did get the year for that, Jasmine. I know you said mid-'80s.
What was it? Yeah, you have more info on it?
Just the exact year, 1985. So
85.
The exact middle of the 80s.
Yep, mid-'80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, did you guys, this isn't Tessie related, but it came up. Did you hear about the Hermit Island, the haunted Hermit Island of Lake Tahoe?
I read something about it, but I don't know what it is.
It's a pretty great story. So basically, it takes place in 1862, and this some kind of tycoon had built like a private resort around Emerald Bay, which was the on the western shore of Lake Tahoe, and there's a little island there. It's about, I think, 16 miles, from like the shore or the closest town at that time. And so there's this island, and it's got like 5 to 6 different names. It's called Croquette Island, Barra-Offee Island, Deadman's Island, Emerald Island, and Hermit's Island. And it's called Hermit's Island because there was a crazy old caretaker who lived there in 1862, and his name was Captain Dick Barter. And he was just this crazy old hermit who would just like stay there for the winter and watch over the property when there's nobody around. And he would have to. It was a 16-mile boat trip to the local bar, like, because it was in the middle of nowhere. So like he'd go have whiskey, and drunkenly go back to his island. But one day his ship got overturned, and he made it back to his island, but he had to swim through the water, and he actually lost 2 of his toes.
Oh,
They sounds got like a lighthouse.
Maybe this was the inspiration for it. But his toes fell off, and he kept them in a jar.
Oh God, why?
No. He just would keep them, and he'd show them to people.
That's weird. Hey, want to see my toe collection?
And so his name became, everyone knew him as town as Captain Dick Dems My Toes Barter.
That's almost as good as Megalodon Bartles. Oh, man.
But yeah, this guy's great. There's this whole article about like all the crazy stuff. Like people had stories about him, but he built his own mausoleum on the island.
Whoa.
And he would always like getting drunk in the bar and tell everyone, "Oh, when I die, just put me in the mausoleum." Like, and there's a picture of it, and it's a pretty nice little mausoleum he built, but I think it fell apart over time.
Oh.
But he never got to be buried in it because one fateful night he went into the bar, got drunk as a skunk, showed everyone his toe collection, wandered off through that door, and never was seen again.
Oh man.
What?
So maybe
Homeboy got eaten by
He
Tessie.
got eaten by
or maybe
Tessie.
he is Tessie.
What? He's a shapeshifter now?
It was just Tessie seeing how far mankind had come with the presence of toes.
You know, speaking of Tessie and like attacking people, there's not a lot of like first-hand accounts of Tessie being aggressive or attacking any people, but
Yeah.
there was a time period where a lot of people were genuinely afraid of her. So like in 1990, CBS This Morning ran a segment claiming that like 50 people had seen Tessie, and what happened after that was at Sand Harbor, which is a stretch of beach that usually has 400,000 visitors per year, the phone was like ringing off the hook with panicked mothers asking if Tessie was going to eat their children. And then
Wow.
the calls intensified in 1992 because people read this local newspaper, the Tahoe Bonanza. They printed its annual April Fool's edition, and the lead story was talking about how a 75-foot monster ate 4 people, 16 dogs, and a horse, and crashed an aluminum boat and swallowed the pit bull on board, which are all very, very interesting specific details that went into this story.
What a scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty epic. Did you see what the Tahoe Bonanza did for their 2005 April Fool's joke?
No, what was it?
They called it a bomb threat.
No, so supposedly some guy caught Tessie after an 8-hour struggle and was debating whether or not to sell it to a hamburger joint.
Oh, jeez.
Dang, we got Darren burgers. We got Tessie tenders.
Oh my god.
Tessie tenders, dude.
There was another funny thing that I found on the internet. This is like super random, but it is Tessie related, and it's fairly recent. So I found a YouTube video where in 2018, WWE diva Brie Bella admitted that Tahoe Tessie was one of her biggest fears, and she swears that she saw shadows in the lake as a kid, and she genuinely believes all of the stories and sightings.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
There also used to be like a local museum and a hotline that people could call about Tessie. You know how we've talked about like UFO hotlines and stuff like that?
Yeah.
There used to be a phone number to call to like report Tessie sightings, and there was a museum too. I tried Googling the museum. All of the articles I read said that it was closed, but I couldn't find any like definitive like address. I mean, there's an address listed, but it doesn't say it's a museum or ever was a museum. Like there's no info on the actual museum that ever existed.
Maybe it was like a gift shop. You know how they have those kind of come see the museum, and it's like a gift shop full of crap.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be plenty of stuff to put in the gift shop since Bob McCormick wrote a book about Tessie.
Oh, he did he? What's
He
it called?
did.
What's it called?
Well, there's a whole story to it, kind of.
This cluckhead.
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about him? I mean, the book ended up being called The Original Tahoe Lake Monster. Or no, just kidding. That's not what the title of the book is. What is the title of the book?
The story of Tahoe Tessie.
Yeah.
The original Lake Tahoe monster.
Oh, yeah. Tahoe Tessie, the original Lake Tahoe monster. So I was close. There's kind of a whole story to it. Did you guys get the background on that? Like where he got the idea and
It's like
when
the
he actually finished the book?
late 70s, he started the idea, right?
Yeah.
I'll just do my quick rundown, and then maybe you can go into more depth about
Sure.
it. But in the late 70s, this guy had the idea of like, oh, I should do I think he heard a myth or a legend about a lake monster, but not in Tahoe, a different lake. That's what I read. And then he's like, oh, man, I should read a children's book about that. That sounds awesome. And then he sat on the idea for 20 years.
Not that long.
All of the meanwhile, an actual real Tessie came out of Lake Tahoe, and he's like, I got to capitalize on this idea.
That's an interesting version of the story. My version's a little bit different.
Oh, yeah,
so
do tell.
So in 1979, he was actually on a kayak trip with a friend, and when he was out on the water, he remembered the article that he had read in the local newspaper about 2 people claiming to have seen a sea serpent. Now, if that happened in 1979, and the sightings that we talked about earlier in 1982 and 1984, I think it was, I'm not exactly sure which story he's referring to. If it's 1979 and he's thinking about an article that he read previously. So there's a
Well,
little
did
bit
he
of
say it was
mystery
on Lake Tahoe?
Yes, he remembered a small article he read in the local newspaper about 2 people claiming to have seen a sea serpent along the shores of Tahoe Vista.
Okay, interesting.
And so he was talking about it with his friend and like jokingly asked what they would do if they encountered the monster out on the water. And supposedly he's the one who came up with the name Tahoe Tessie, naming it that because of Nessie, the Loch Ness monster.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was done with his trip, McCormick retold the tale and kind of created this story of a friendly sea monster living beneath the surface of Lake Tahoe who eventually becomes friends with the locals and helps to save the community from imminent danger. And then he worked with a cartoonist named Eileen Gay in 1979 to draw... of 1979 to draw poses and like expressions of Tessie the way that McCormick had like always envisioned her as like curious and fun-loving and appealing to all ages. However, life got in the way. Like he was married and he had children, so he kind of like put a pin in the book, like he wasn't working on it. But then in 1984, when all these sightings started popping up and all these stories were showing up in the newspaper, that's when he did do the, maybe I should capitalize on this before someone else does type of thing. So that summer, he knew his book needed to get out there before anyone else had an idea similar to it. So he rewrote the story to incorporate his own 2 sons into the book and produced the first Tahoe Tessie t-shirt to place the trademark on his unique green friend. But he claims there are 2 Tessies. So he says, one is the real monster, and the second is my creative imagination. There are serious articles from sighters, and then there are the fun articles. And so, although he does believe in Tessie, and he does think Tessie is out there, he's never actually seen her. So he does have questions about it. But his reasoning for, like, writing the book and kind of, like, capitalizing on this friendly sea monster thing, he claims... it was like Jaws, where people didn't want to go in the water, and he didn't want kids to be afraid to swim in the lake. So he created this kid-friendly Tessie and trademarked the character.
Wow.
Imagine if Tessie ate people, and then he just like his book was a propaganda.
Right?
Because he's like, it's like Jaws. Everyone was so scared to go in the water because there could have been a monster in there. So I wrote a book where it was a friendly monster.
Yeah.
Cut to 10 years later, billions of missing children throughout Tahoe.
Wild. I know someone who wasn't so pro Tessie. Did you get anything about a Dr. Charles Goldman?
Indeed. About the seminars and meetings he held.
Yes. So there was in 2004, there was a global conference held at Lake Tahoe to discuss unidentified swimming objects, or USOs, at Squaw Valley Institute under the guidance of Dr. Charles Goldman of UC Davis Tahoe Research Group. And from what I understand, this Dr. Charles Goldman went through alleged photos and videos taken of Tessie, or like Tessie's eggs, and just kind of started like disproving it, debunking it, along with like sighting reports. You know, he just kind of started debunking it all and being like, see, this isn't what people think it is. There isn't a lake monster down there.
Attention, everybody. I do not like to have any kind of fun whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
Watch as we now dissect the corpse of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
Jeez.
Oh, Goldman, when will you ever learn?
Yeah, I don't know if you had more details on that, Jasmine.
Yeah, so that 2004, did you say it was? 2004?
Yeah.
Yeah, lecture. So At that lecture, he actually did reference something that happened 20 years earlier. So in 1984, he actually had another panel on the health of the lake at the University of Nevada in 1984. So at that time, in 1984, he did do some more of the debunking. Tessie sightings, saying that they were like floating baseballs and reflected sun rays and paddling beavers, because he says, in waves, humans see spots of black and then the mind fills the blanks. So the same thing happens with snakes in the water, which some mistake for like a beastly swell. And then that same year, he also introduced audiences to the idea of unidentified swimming objects. And that's when Tessie went commercial and all that stuff. So that was in 84. And then he did have another conference in 2004 where he kind of referenced back to a lot of things he had said back in the 80s. But then in addition to that, he continued to debunk his sightings, but also explained what he thinks Tessie might actually be. Because either people are seeing things that aren't there, their minds are playing tricks on them, or they're just misidentifying things, such as a sturgeon, which is a giant fish, which this idea has like been talked about and repeated in shoreline cafes and bait shops. Like a lot of people think that this is the explanation for Tessie, this fish that is shown to have grown as big as 1,500 pounds, apparently.
How big again? Sorry.
1,500 pounds.
Wow. That's a huge one.
Big fish.
Yeah, and then it's crept into Lake Tahoe during trout and mackinac plantings. So,
have you seen what a sturgeon looks like?
You know what? I actually have, but I didn't pay attention. This sounds so dumb. I spent more time trying to figure out how to pronounce the scientific name for a sturgeon. And so I looked up YouTube videos of the fish and only listened to the audio to try and figure it out, because its scientific name is an accipenser. So I wasn't actually. I know. I wasn't actually looking at the video as much as I was focusing on listening to what the people in the videos were saying. But apparently, it's a big fish.
Oh yeah, just we can throw one up on the gram or something. But if you Google it, there's a picture of 4 people holding one. It's giant.
Yeah.
And they have like spikes on them.
Yeah, they're kind of scary looking.
They have like a kind of like raised spines on their backs. And they have some on the side. It just looks like if it hit you, it would hurt really bad. Like it looks like a prehistoric fish, kind of like a coelacanth, like they would hang out.
Yeah. He also, Goldman, created a lot of like experiments. Like he recreated a lot of photos that were claimed to have been like Tessie and stuff. So like he did experiments and stuff like that. He also, now I know, Eli, you said earlier that he's not pro Tessie, but I don't think he's like against the exploration and idea
he was
of this.
Debunking it, dude.
Yeah, but he also has gone on adventures to Loch Ness and like gone down narrow canyons.
Oh, yeah? But was he there to debunk it?
Maybe he's just that determined to prove that they don't exist.
Any large body of water, I will be there, and I will stop any sea serpents from existing.
There's quite a bit out there, dude.
Right?
There's a lot of lake monsters out there for sure. So wait, where were we?
We just finished talking about Goldman and debunking.
Yes, I have a theory that is, I'm gonna debunk this theory. Not debunk it, but it's been debunked. But like the idea that Tessie is like an actual like plesiosaur type creature, like even though that doesn't match any of the descriptions of the sightings, it just can't be a plesiosaur because Lake Tahoe was formed during the last ice age, by which point all plesiosaurs were extinct or believed to be extinct.
Interesting.
At that time. So yeah, I mean, it's the same reason they say Champ can't be a plesiosaur, is because it formed after the last ice age.
The timeline doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. So, yeah. But I got another sighting This takes place actually only 8 days after the 2005 article April Fool's one from the Tahoe Bonanza.
Okay.
So on April 9th, a report came in that a Sacramento couple spotted a solid-shaped object in the water with 5 humps on its back, and it occurred off of Tahoe Beach next to Sunnyside on the west shore.
Ooh.
And that's just about it for that sighting.
They saw some
But
humps.
I just think it's interesting because it's so close in proximity to a joke about someone catching Tessie, and then like a few days later, someone actually sees Tessie.
Maybe she's a what's that? We talked about in the Chupacabra when you manifest a creature.
Oh, a tulpa.
Tulpa, yeah. What if Tessie's a tulpa that everyone's like, hey, what if there was a monster that lived in the lake, and then one day it just showed up?
Yeah.
Well, I do have quite a conspiracy that I read about.
Ooh.
There's actually some conspiracy around Tessie, and I wanted to read it to you guys and see what you thought. So I read an article from an anonymous employee of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, and they said, I've worked for the TRPA for nearly 12 years, and it disgusts me that no one within the agency will come clean as to the origins of Tessie. They say that they were there the day that the Engine Corporation had the first meeting with board of directors in 1992. And at the time, the TRPA was planning to create a new attraction to draw tourism to Lake Tahoe and boost the local economy. So I guess that they supposedly used fossilized DNA and perfected the technology to recreate a Dolichoryncops, not to be confused with the plesiosaurs, which is what most lake monsters are commonly mistaken for, as you mentioned. And after researching various lakes around the world, InGen decided that Lake Tahoe presented the ideal environment for sustaining a creature of Nessie's size and temperament. And upon further deliberation, the two agencies decided to create an enclosed facility near Cave Rock to house the creature. And so she was incubated on an island called Isla Sorna and brought to Tahoe right before she was hatched in the waters of the Cave Rock. And this is just crazy because I guess throughout stages of her growth, Tessie demonstrated signs of having abandonment issues due to the absence of a maternal figure and became increasingly more aggressive and demanding over time. And then 18 months later is when she broke free of her enclosure and apparently escaped into the depths of the lake. And it wasn't long after that the sightings started coming in. And I mean, that's kind of crazy.
It's also fake.
I know.
I'm gonna have to say, unfortunately, what year did that happen?
I like how you put it in the chat. You guys think I'm really this stupid? I know it's fake. I know it's Jurassic Park.
What year was it?
It said 1992.
Oh, yeah, but if we go off the logic of the book, IGN was bankrupt by then after the events of 1989.
We have, for everyone listening, I am aware that was a fake story. I wanted to read it as if it was real and see if I could trick either Eli or Alex or you listening. And Eli, we have a chat on this platform that we're using to record, and I wasn't looking at it as I was reading, but there's just 3 messages. Eli, it says fake in all lowercase, and then fake in all caps, and then Jurassic Park in all caps. But yes, that was a fun satire though, because that whole story is written as if it's real, but it's a satire.
It's pretty great too.
Did you read about the author?
I feel like I skimmed it. Oh yeah, it's something about he's dead now, right?
Yeah, he got fed to to Tessie at a certain time or whatever, the morning breakfast, whatever.
It's funny too. What if you can go back? What type of dinosaur did they say Tessie was that they incubated?
Dolichoryncops.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I want to say that might be. I think they made one of those figure for Jurassic Park when it came out. Because I think it's kind of looks like a long necked dinosaur, kind of like a plesiosaur, but with little tiny legs.
Ooh.
And it was one of the extra dinosaurs they made because there wasn't enough for the toy line when it came out.
Did you guys really let me read through that whole thing thinking I was stupid?
No,
I was commenting. I was
like, this is crazy. It adds up. I mean, I'm thinking about it, and I'm
You
digging
didn't
it.
catch Engine right off the top, dude?
No, I did
know,
not.
but you know, if some, you know, some people might not have seen that movie. So I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't remember the name Injun at first.
What about Isla Sorna?
Right, when I hit Isla Sorna, that's when I knew. And it also mentioned John Hammond in the article, and I was like, this is golden.
Because I missed the part where you said John Hammond. I heard Injun, but I didn't put two and two. And then you said Isla Sorna, and I was like, oh, Site B.
No, I didn't mention John Hammond in my retelling. Hammond is mentioned in the actual article, and the article comes from the Tahoe Journal. The article is called Truth Behind Tahoe Tessie.
I gotta say, with all the publications coming out of Tahoe, they so do put a lot of BS into them.
It's true.
Hey, you
But I
gotta
thought that
spice
was
it up,
fun.
dude.
Yeah, you gotta get a little fancy with it.
That's what I decided to do today. I wanted to spice it up. That's why I saved it for the end. Conspiracy, you know, Jurassic Park, all that. I wonder how many people are gonna listen to this and like be screaming into the abyss, like, Jasmine, you idiot! And then at the end, it's gonna be like, oh, she knew the whole time. She got me. If only it was still April 1st. I mean, honestly, this whole month is a joke, but you know.
What? Oh, shots fired.
Dude, it's April 13th.
What if Injun like just made different dinosaurs and they all were the basis for cryptids? Like what if let's say the chupacabra was a compy because it's down in, you know, kind of South America, Mexico, where the compies got loose. What if the Ahul is like a pterodactyl?
Maybe.
What if Bigfoot is a cloned caveman?
Interesting.
Bruh.
Lots of genetic modifications happening over there at InGen.
They're getting fancy with it. What's that guy? Henry Wu. He's doing his best work, damn it.
Oh, yeah. Henry Wu, dude. It's weird they made him the villain now.
Right? It's crazy, too.
Spoilers.
Well, I mean... everyone saw Jurassic World. It was mediocre. Let's get over it.
Jurassic World 2 was terrible.
That one is actually pretty good because that movie is like, you know what? Screw dinosaurs. Let's just make a Resident Evil movie, but with dinosaurs in it. Because I have the same mansion. That movie's insane.
Yeah, but that caps off all of my official research. I don't really have anything more on Tessie at this point.
I think that's about it. We covered Tahoe itself, which is a pretty crazy lake. Ghosts, gangsters, goblins, Captain
Goblins.
Captain Dick Dems My Toes Barter.
The Megalodon Bartles, dude. It's gotta be some of the best. Yeah, so I guess if I want to...
What, did we want to go to the Cryptid Coliseum today?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I totally forgot about this segment.
So did I. Like, what tome are we in, guys?
Tome 5 still, apparently.
Are we still doing Cryptid Coliseum, everybody? We totally forgot.
We are. It's been a while, past couple of weeks. We haven't recorded for a long time, actually. Like...
Yeah, I know, straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
time
who's
is an
Tessie
illusion.
going toe-to-toe with?
Ooh, all right, everybody. Let's get ready. Let me go ahead and get my notes real quick.
Dun, 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 dun,
And now, we are ready. And now begins the trials of Tahoe Tessie in Cryptid Coliseum. The camera opens up in a large body of water. Giant white clouds line the horizon. In the middle of the waves is the Cryptid Coliseum, surrounded by large rocks jutting out. Carved into the rocks are previous cryptid contenders. And also, there's cryptids yet undiscussed.
Ooh.
A little setup for future. An aerial pan reveals the inside of the arena, once again flooded for the ensuing battle. From out of the metal gate shoots a serpentine shape, speeding through the water with aquatic agility. The crowd erupts in a manic cheer as the 30-foot-long creature dashes out of the water, jumping into the air as the sun shines on grayish-green scales. We see Tahoe Tessie in all her glory.
Woo!
Meanwhile, across the Coliseum, another metal gate opens. 5 shapes shoot out, all about 8 to 9 feet long. The shapes swim in a coordinated attack form. They appear to be vaguely human, and even seem to be holding various edged weapons. It appears to be a small pod of mermaids as they begin their assault on Tahoe Tessie.
Whoa.
I thought it was going to be the sea people from the Bronze Age.
Well, they may or may not be wearing armor made of bronze. Tahoe Tessie zooms through the water and quickly turns, causing its long tail to whiplash and impale one of the mermaids.
Oh.
The others scatter as Tahoe Tessie bites off the head of the stabbed mermaid.
Jeez.
Oh.
The remaining mermaids regroup and begin another attack formation on the giant serpent. The two mythical forces race towards each other and the screen goes black.
Wow.
And we ask you, the creepy campers out there, who wins?
Dun 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 dun.
The official Cryptid Campfire theme, or Cryptid Coliseum theme. That song plays before every battle. What do you guys think?
I think that was pretty beast. It's an interesting tactic because it's that whole multiple small things versus one large thing, and you never really know who's gonna win.
A lot of variables to take into account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys think?
know.
Let us know on the Cryptid Campfire Instagram.
Yes, let us know. There will be a post. And comment, please. Comment.
Yeah, comment, like, share, tell your friends about us.
Yeah, if we get enough comments in the first 30 minutes, the homie Toby will not comment at all.
Oh, and he will not dress up as a carrot. That's Jasmine's job.
Yeah, apparently.
We're bringing it back. 2020, carrot year, baby.
Carrot
The year
year.
of the carrot.
Oh boy. Well, if I want to find you guys on the onlines,
Oh, yeah.
Alex, how do I find you?
Well, if you want to find me online, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AlexDaiKaiju. That's Alex, DAIKAIJU. And I just want to state my sources real quick. For the episode, I used Weird US and WeirdCalifornia.com, and that's where I got the story of old Dick Barter. And if I wanted to find you, Jasmine?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well. JASMINEMAEWITH. I also used Weird California and Weird US as well as Lake Tahoe this week, TMR Real Estate, Tahoe Daily Tribune, Tahoe Daily Tribune, a second article, and the LA Times, as well as a website called area51.org.
Ooh.
51.org.
Ooh, let's storm it.
Yeah.
Ooh, and before we get to you, Eli, I just want to say a little something special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh?
We don't have our fourth member with us today, but his name is Stephen Myers. And I just want to have everyone who listens to the episode, if you have an Instagram, go on Instagram and follow the Myers Stephen. Myers, MYERS, STEFFEN, and go on the picture of him with an orange hat and comment, Tahoe Tessie says hello.
Standing in the gap for our absent member.
Yeah, I don't think he's listening to this episode, so I want to surprise the heck out of him one day.
Yeah, please do it because I'm the one who took that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who took that. So, even better.
Yeah, do it. And if I want to find you, the Eli Watson.
Yes, you can find me at the Eli Watson on Instagram. And that's about that. And I also run the Cryptid Campfire at Cryptid Campfire Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on all the social medias. I think there's an unofficial Tumblr running around somewhere.
Most likely.
Yeah, because I started it and then abandoned it the same day.
Oh.
So it's
Who
there.
uses Tumblr anymore? Not me.
I know, right?
Much like every major corporation that's tried to buy Tumblr, they abandon it immediately after.
What about TikTok? Are we on TikTok?
No.
Ooh, let's get the homie Toby on there.
Oh yeah. And then we also you can visit our official website www.cryptidcampfire.com where you can get your official Cryptid Campfire t-shirt.
Ooh,
and sign up for our newsletter that Eli puts together. It's so cool.
Yes. It's bi-weekly. Every other Wednesday.
It's super official looking too. It's real classy.
Yeah, I try, dude.
Well, I think you do a great job. And you people out there listening, check it out.
Yes. And you can also visit our Patreon. Where for $5 a month you get access to exclusive episodes, early access to episodes, and exclusive images, exclusive content.
Yeah, if you like what we do, if you like who we are, if you want to support us, we're more than grateful. You check us out on the Patreon. $5 gets you a lot of cool content, and we're always upgrading and up doing more stuff cool on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're on all the podcast streaming services.
Yeah, but they already know that. They're listening to us.
Yeah, how otherwise are you listening? Why do people say that at the end of the podcast? You already found us. You know we're here.
It's true.
Yep.
Share it with your friends who don't know.
But thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure you tell everyone that Tahoe Tessie is a conspiracy by InGen and run by John Hammond. So that's the truth. All those movies were actually based on a true story because the book was based off of a true story.
Written by the greatest doctor who ever lived, Michael Crichton.
Yes.
Jurassic Park's one of my favorite movies, though. So.
Oh yeah, prove it.
I have a real life dinosaur, okay?
Name all the patents on the InGen's dinosaur bestiary.
Well, my grandpa's so old that he had a baby brontosaurus as a pet, so, you know.
Oh, that joke's so
funny.
That joke's so funny, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Dumb. All right, well, thank you guys, and you all have a good night.
Bye.
Be safe out there.